All right, everyone, it's that time of week again. It's the Family Beatdown Update Show. This is week number 11. Looking at our Notre Dame USC rivalry, we're 2 weeks away from that. In fact, it's 2 weeks in a row where the Trojans have big rivalry games. This week, the Trojans will travel over to Pasadena to take on UCLA. And what's unusual about the game this year, it's always a big game. It's always heated. The town goes crazy. But what's unusual about this game is that UCLA this year is ranked higher than the Trojans. UCLA comes in as number 17 in the BCS rankings, while the Trojans come in at number 18. So a win by the Trojans here will certainly move them up in the rankings, but it'll also set them up nicely for 11:24, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central time. That's when the matchup begins. That's when Notre Dame USC 2012 edition takes hold. Getting back to Notre Dame, decent win against BC, Boston College, 21-6. Nothing unusual there. Kind of a low part of Notre Dame's schedule right now. You got Boston College and now Wake Forest coming up this weekend. Wake Forest, you know, not a team that's necessarily known as a football school, certainly as a basketball school, but not so much in the on the football side of things. But you got to watch out for them. We had another team. You guys had another team just a couple of weeks ago, Pitt, that was not ranked. Different team certainly, but took you to triple overtime. So every game's important. But Notre Dame beat Boston College 21-6 in their annual rivalry. Wake Forest is up next. Notre Dame now sits as number 3 in the overall BCS rankings. Oregon is number 1. I told you that team, you got to watch out for them. Oregon, Kansas State, Notre Dame, and Alabama. So those are your top 4. Of note, at the Wake Forest game, the Menser-Bouldin family will be in attendance. I expect you all. There's going to be a lot of you there. So I think you can paint your chests and you can do, something like Go Irish, beat the Trojans, or something like that. But I'm expecting to see some kind of display on television. I'll be glued, making sure that you guys represent the family, as I know you're going to have a very good time. Certainly wish I could join you. It would be a good atmosphere to check out. All right, let's take a look at our league. No big upsets this week, I should say. MudDawgs won his game pretty handily. Remains undefeated. He beat Rebecca 127-76. Rebecca just had a hell of a time getting going. I mean, Ben got knocked out with that shoulder, but produced 15.8. Owen Daniels was a game-time decision, and Rebecca got goose egg out of him. Her highest point total was from her Seahawks defense at 24. Total of 76, just not going to get it done. She didn't have a lot of help on the bench either. I think really, when you look at it, she could have scored 95 if Sidney Rice and Joel Dreesen were in, but still. MudDawgs 127.8, Breeze with 45.7, 11.7 on Antonio Gates, Demarius Thomas 18.5. Rick remains strong. Smell this, lost to Blue and Gold. Had a 26-point deficit going into Monday night. Jake was on top of Smell This by 26 points. I had Heath Miller and Sean Sweesum going for the Pittsburgh team, and with all that rain that we saw in Kansas City, it was not much of an offensive night. Although I did claw to make this close, a respectable 9-point win. But yet, Blue and Gold putting on a bit of a streak here to move into playoff contention. Now at 4-5, Smell This drops to 8-2. Excuse me, Blue and Gold moves up to 5-5. Girard Invincibles finding new ways to lose every week. Grandpa made the calculated risk to drop Aaron Rodgers for the bye week and to pick up Carson Palmer. While I like Carson Palmer, former Trojan, and he did end up putting up 49.8 points for the Girard Invincibles, certainly dropping Aaron Rodgers is not advisable under any circumstances. Because of the immense power that I have as commissioner, I went ahead and took care of that. I hope you all don't mind. And I've had a little bit of talking with Dad that certain players you just don't drop. Rednecks, Mighty Mullets. Tyson won this one on autopilot, and Dawn is none too happy about it. Tyson, you need to talk to your aunt and make amends, because you beat her without a kicker and without a wide receiver. But still, 135-117. It's a respectable win. Russell Wilson, 32.2. Roddy White, 16.4. Ray Rice, 12.8 for Tyson. Cam Newton had a tough day, but still put up 32.8. But look at Adrian Peterson, 30.6, and 15 points from Steven Gostkowski. Optimal lineup. Kyle Rudolph would have been a better start for Dawn, but still, it would have been tough to overcome Mr. Tyson. And in the husband and wife matchup, Michael took this one 100.7 to 69.3. Talk about lights are on, but nobody's home. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. But between the two teams, we had 4 players on bye. We're going to have a talk about that in just a second. As we talked about, MudDawgs beat Show Me Them TDs, and the B-hole wreckers really pumping up the points. 165 to 121 over Decepticons, led by 62.3 from Mr. Matty Ryan, 62.3. Arian Foster, 22.7 for Alex, who's making a run for the playoffs. Surprise, surprise. Andy Dalton, 43.7 for Jed, 24.1 for Marshawn the Beast Lynch, and Tony Gonzalez. This is my last year. Tony Gonzalez, 29.2 for Decepticons. About those buys, folks, it kind of takes the fun out of fantasy football if you're not at least putting people into position and covering for your buys. Nobody likes to lose to a team that's all pockmarked with buys. Nobody likes to win against a team that's all pockmarked with buys. Except, of course, it's me. I'll take whatever win I can get. But please, it's not that much of a time commitment. Just check it by Wednesday because you got those Thursday night games. Make your adjustments. Don't drop Aaron Rodgers or players of that ilk. And come on, let's keep it competitive. Taking a look at the NFL schedule this upcoming week, Thursday night game is Miami versus Buffalo, so that'll be a good contest. And then bye this week are Tennessee, the Minnesota Vikings, New York Giants, and Seattle Seahawks. Again, Thursday night game Miami versus Buffalo, Tennessee, Minnesota, New York Giants, and Seattle Seahawks all on bye this here week. All right, week number 11. We played a week number 13. You do the math. The playoffs are around the corner. Before we get there, though, let's look at our lineups. As I mentioned, MudDawgs remains undefeated. Yeah. But look, MudDawgs and Smell This have both clinched a playoff spot. Yay! From Smell This, at any rate. MudDawgs, here's your 1 through 6 in order. MudDawgs at 10-0, number 1. Smell This at 8-2, it's number 2. Number 3 team, the Rednecks at 7-3. Number 4 team, the Decepticons at 5-5. The number 5 team, Blue and Gold, at 5-5, and the number 6 team is the Mighty Mullets at 5-5. Teams that are outside looking in are Blood, Sweat, and Beer at 4-6, B-Hole Wreckers at number 8 at 4-6, and Show Me Them TDs slipping all the way down to number 9 at 4-6. So every game's important, every point's important, because you can see we've got a bunch of teams clustered at 5-5. Bunch of teams clustered at 4-6. So those points 4 are going to be your first tiebreaker. So it's not enough to win. You need to win with style. Not enough to lose. You need to lose with style. Put up as many points as you can. All right, week number 11. Oh, good. Smell This versus the Rednecks. I'm going to get a decent team that's managed on a day-to-day basis. This is going to be a good game. This is 8-2, Smell This, 7-3, the Rednecks. Rednecks are pissed. Chris Johnson's on bye. The New York Football Giants are on bye for my defense. Otherwise, I'm in good shape. I got Alex Smith against Chicago. I'm in good shape. Alex Smith against Chicago. Good Lord. Calvin Johnson against Green Bay, and Julio Jones against Arizona. I got Fred Jackson, who's out. Jackson, they're not even reporting that here on Yahoo. Fred Jackson's out. God, I got a lot of work to do. Rednecks, Andrew Luck against New England. Tough, but he can do some damage up there. James Jones against Detroit. Reggie Bush against Buffalo. On paper, this is 132 to 83 in favor of Dawn. I'm going to give it to Dawn because, look, I got so many holes to fill. I got Fred Jackson, who's out. Damn it. Any rate, Gerard Invincibles versus Bears 6. 3-7 versus 3-7. Grandpa needs to put his quarterback in there, get that Aaron Rodgers guy up in there, and once he does, he'll be fully loaded. I'll need to cover for Percy Harvin, who's on bye and is injured, Grandpa, so get him out of there. For Bears 6, Tony Romo against Cleveland, Larry Fitzgerald against Atlanta, Andre Roberts against Atlanta. Andre Roberts, great. C.J. Spiller back in the lineup for Bears 6, and with Fred Jackson being out, C.J. Spiller becomes relevant again. Michael gets the win. All right, Mama 4 Boldins versus Decepticons. Jed Derone versus Veronica Bolden. Jed at 5-5, Veronica at 2-8. Jed needs to keep winning. Marshawn Lynch is on bye this week. Other than that, Jed looks to be pretty good, but is only projected 97 points. Veronica's got a whole bunch of people on bye. All those New York Football Giants are on bye. Plus, you got a hole in your defense. You got no defense, girl. But still, you're projected to get 64. I think Decepticons are going to pull it together and maintain his playoff pace. I'm going to give the nod to Decepticons. Show me them TDs versus the Beho Wreckers. Rebecca versus Alex. Both 4-6 teams. And both need a win in order to get past the other in that bottleneck for that 6th and 5th playoff spots. Rebecca has got 3 people on bye. Ahmad Bradshaw, Lawrence Tynes, Seattle defense. But Ben is against Baltimore. Tough matchup. And actually, I think Ben's out. Right now he's projected to get 0, and he did separate that shoulder. So you may need to do some scurrying about there, young lady. On the Beho Wrecker side, Matty Ryan against Arizona, projected to get 40. I bet he gets 80. Jeremy Macklin against Washington. Danny Amendola, who's back from injury, 7.29. I got to give the win to Beho Wreckers as much as I don't like to, because I think he's coming on strong here at the end, and I might have to face him in the playoffs. Any rate, Blue and Gold versus Blood, Sweat, and Beer. Jacob at 5-5 versus Danny at 4-6. Jake has got no problems. Everybody's ready and ready for duty. Look at Jimmy Graham against Oakland. He had 30 points for Jake the other day. Peyton Manning against San Diego. It's not the easiest matchup. Jake's projected to do 135. Blood, Sweat, and Beer. Matthew Stafford against Green Bay. Lots of luck there, but he's projected to do 39. Stevan Ridley against Indiana. Steve Smith against Tampa Bay. Vincent Jackson against Carolina. And Danny's projected to do 130. This is a 135 to 130 game. 5-5 versus 4-6. Danny's hungry. And Jake just beat me. Danny needs the win. Danny's going to get the nod. All right, and in our game of the week, this is Rick 10-0 Menser versus Tyson 5-5 Bouldin. Rick has Drew Brees against Oakland, Reggie Wayne against New England, Cecil Shorts against Houston, and Trent Richards against Dallas. Mighty Mullets with Russell Wilson on bye, Rob Baronis on bye, and Tyson not being the most attentive owner. Rick is going to cruise to 11-0. Prove me wrong, Tyson. Prove me wrong. You know what? I'll do a bounty. I'll give you $5. $5 straight up. We're going to go all bounty gate on you here. I'll give you $5 straight up if you beat your Uncle Rick this week in fantasy football. No helping, Rick. You don't get to split that money. I know $5. It's a lot. It's very tempting, but $5 straight to you from me, Tyson James Bouldin, to you. Beat your Uncle Rick this week. Knock him off his high horse, 10-1, and do it there at the Notre Dame Stadium, right in his face. Wait a minute. I want to change my pick. I'm not going to give that pick to Rick. I'll give my pick to Mr. Tyson. All right, so we're going to go through it one more time on the buys and the Thursday night game. Say it with me now. Thursday night game, Miami versus Buffalo, bye weeks, Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, New York Football Giants, and your Seattle Seahawks. Have fun at the game, you guys. We'll see you next week. So long.